Okay, so can you do this? Can I do this? What makes a successful business person in general? There are a few things. The very first thing is you like challenges. You love challenges. You do not shy away from challenges. When there is a problem, either at work or at home, your brain is the wheels in your brain are turning. You're trying to figure it out. You need that as a business owner because there will always be problems. Whether you're starting your own business or you're buying into a franchise, there will always be problems that were never anticipated. COVID is a classic example. Nobody saw COVID coming, right? And so every business owner had to move into problem solving mode. How can I solve this problem? This is a huge challenge in front of me, and instead of folding up and curling into a ball and crying, which is okay too, we got to do that sometimes, but being able to rise above and start to figure out problems, that challenge. So you have to love challenges. You need to be a leader. That's just the truth about it. If you are someone who is reluctant to take the lead, it might be challenging for you to start a business because business requires leadership. You will be leading your employees. You would be leading your customers. You would be faced with issues and challenges where you have to, take leadership, whether that's apologizing for a mistake that happened or taking ownership over something that is not going quite well, and basically leading the pack and caring for your employees, which is really huge. Those are things that you have to do. So you need to ask yourself and assess yourself on your leadership skills. Do people look up to you? Are you one of those people that in a class, when you were in a class, you were always taking the lead, or you're always one to volunteer to take the lead on a project? Check yourself for leadership skills. Are you a manager? Have you been in a management position? Did you love it? Did you enjoy it? Leadership is not about dictatorship, right? Are you able to get people to do what you want them to do? Without hurting people's feelings, yelling at people, and all of that. So check yourself for your leadership skills. You need to be creative and flexible. Now, again, nothing bends you, hopefully that's the right word, like business does. Because you can have a system in place, you can say, these are the processes that we're gonna follow, and then something happens and you gotta figure it out. You have to change plans on the fly. And so if you are not someone that's comfortable with changing things up on the fly, business might be challenging for you. But if you are somebody that you're able to go with the flow, okay, this is direct. You're like, this is the direction that we're taking today. But then tomorrow something happens that requires a rather quick change in direction. If you are able to go with the flow and just, run with it, then business ownership might be a good thing for you. But if you are someone that really needs that rigid structure and everything needs to be planned right from 3-5 months ago, and if it's not going according to plan, it stresses you out, then you might want to reconsider if business ownership is right for you. Another trait is that you like big ideas. You love ideas. You're always having ideas. And not just having ideas, because so many people have ideas, but you take action on your ideas. You're thinking, oh, I think this would be a great thing to do. And tomorrow, next week, you're actually doing something about it. That is a key leadership, key business owner trait. That is a key trait of a business owner. All right. You need to be somebody who has good ideas, not just good ideas, but then you take action on those ideas. All right. This one is really surprising to me because I thought when I went into business, I assumed that this was something that everybody knew and everybody could do. And when I branched into franchising and started to bring other franchisees into our business, it's something that I started to see people struggle with. You need to be able to delegate. You cannot cannot do everything by yourself. Yes, you might be a perfectionist and you're like, well, if I could just do it myself, it would be perfect. You need to be comfortable with 80% perfection. If somebody can do it 80% of the way that you can, you need to let that job go. Another thing is that as a business owner, you need to separate as much as you can the business ownership, the things you need to do to move your business forward from the day-to-day of the business. And it depends on exactly what you do. Sometimes it may not apply. Like if you are a consultant, for example, you would need to be running the day-to-day of your business, because the day-to-day is like coaching people or consulting. But say you decide to start a store, or maybe, for example, a CodeWiz, you want to separate the business owner functions from the day-to-day functions. And you want to make sure that you're spending the most amount of your time doing things that move your business forward. So if you're not comfortable with delegating, if you're not okay, if you're one of those people that has to do everything by yourself, that might be a challenge. It's something you can learn. It's something that you can grow into. But from the get-go, you need to know that delegation is a huge part of business success, and you need to be comfortable with that. There is no business that grew to be $1 million, $1 billion business that did not require a fair amount of delegation, because one man cannot build an entire business. You have to have a team, and you have to be able to trust your team and not micromanage them. Hiring the right people into your team is a whole different course on its own, but just keep in mind that if you are able to hire the right people, then you need to be able to let go. You set the vision as a business owner and back off and let people run with it. Okay, two more things. So you do need to be financially stable. The last thing you want to do is go into business without some form of capital. Like it's just not going to work. You need capital to build the business, and you need capital to sustain yourself. If you are, not able to pay your bills, if you have like family that, they're risking being thrown on the street because of a business, there's no way that you will be able to focus and put your best into the business, because you're worried about all these other things. And then you go into what I like to call scarcity mode. You start to say, okay, let's pull some money from marketing. Let's lay off this staff. Let's do this, because you're trying to save money here and there. But it's the marketing that you need to move things forward. It's the staff that you need to help you service the customers that are coming in so that they can tell other people about you. So if you do not have the capital, your business is not likely to succeed. Now, there are many ways that you can get capital, and I'll talk about that a little bit, but let's not kid ourselves about this, okay? If you are going into a business, you need capital. And whatever it is that you project, if you project, I'm going to need $100,000 for this business, and then by the time we've gone through the $100,000, we would be at break even, and our profit would be, we would be having like a 20% profit margin. I would encourage you to double that projection. So if you think you need 100,000, look for 200,000, because a lot of things come up that nobody plans, and it's better to have the capital than not have it. Okay. Last thing, and I think this is super important. I think that a lot of people that I have talked to that have been very successful, they're not in it for the money. They're not doing this because, oh my gosh, I'm going to go into business because I want to make $1 billion. Money is just, in my opinion, and I think this differs from person to person, but in my opinion, money should just not be your motivator. You either want to change your life. Maybe you need more flexibility. Maybe you want to work, be able to work from home. Maybe you want to inspire the next generation. For me, the reason that I went into business was because I needed flexibility. I needed to be in charge of my own schedule because of my young kids. And I really, really wanted to make a difference in the life of kids. Just the way, I'll share a little bit more in my story, but The way I started to learn how to code was back home in Nigeria, and somebody helped me out, right? And if he didn't help me out, I would not be where I am today. And so that's something that I've always wanted to pay forward. And that's one of the reasons why I went into business. And it keeps me going. Like when COVID hit and everything was just like falling apart and we were losing money at some point, I kept going because I knew that some of the kids that were coming to us, the coding classes were their lifelines. Like they were holding on to coding classes as the one thing that hadn't changed in their lives. And so I knew that we were making a difference, and that really helped me to hang in there and to keep going until we finally started, our revenues finally started to go up again. So you need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's the reason? What's my motivation? What's my passion? What is driving me? And I really, really believe that it needs to be beyond money, because you can continue to work in your job, right? You can go find another job if it's all about money, but business is hard. Business is hard work. And so the driving force needs to be something that's bigger than money. Okay, so hopefully I tried to talk really quickly and tried not to go into too much detail, but these are the questions that you want to ask yourself when you are considering business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare a checklist that you can download so that as you're thinking about it, you can look through the points and ruminate on this, and maybe if you want to watch the video over and whatnot. But yeah, if you are thinking, it's okay, I can handle that, all right, let's go to the next video.